We'll just take another moment here, checking inside and seeing if there's anything present in terms of, again, hips are really pretty closely related to emotion. So anything that's present for you emotionally, and maybe it's a little irritability or sadness. Sometimes we don't even know why. But as we begin to work with the hips, you might start to notice a little more emotion being released. Just let it release, let it soften and open. And then we'll very slowly inhale, coming up, rounding the back, and we'll come right into some cat-cow movements, arching the back, look up, and then exhale. Navel comes into spine as you round, chin to chest. And you want to push the hands as though you're pushing them into the earth. And then as you inhale, it's like you're going to pull the hands towards the knees as the chest comes forward. And exhale, push the hands back out, slightly out towards the top of the mat. And you want to try to have the movement originating from the pelvis here. So we start at the tailbone, radiate up, and you find your own pace. And keep moving the breath, moving with the breath, through the breath. Good, one more movement here, arching the back, looking up. And then on the exhale, curl and round. And just hold this position for a moment where the navel is drawing in and up towards the spine, tailbone tucking slightly in. We're opening up that sacral area. Good, and then inhale, come back to neutral. You're gonna stretch the left leg out here. Good. And then on the exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest. Take the knee out to the side, and then slowly. So the nervous system really reacts to slow movements. And you're gonna circle the leg back around, pull the knee in slow, take it out to the side, and then move in the hip joint. Don't just move around the hip joint, but move inside of the hip joint. Great, back in, and then we're gonna switch the direction. So you're gonna lift the leg with the knee bent, take it out to the side, pull the knee in towards the armpit, and then back in. Good, so nice slow, inhaling. And when we go slow, it's gonna feel a little harder because we're working deeper in the body, deeper at shifting the patterns. So if you tend to move a little more fast, quickly, go slower. Great, and then inhale, we'll just reach that leg all the way back, lift the chest, look forward, and find the extension from the pelvis outward. Good, exhale, release. And then we'll switch directions. So the right leg is gonna reach back behind. And then here we go, on the exhale, draw the knee in towards the navel, take the knee out to the side, and see if you can really feel that movement of your hip. So we often do a lot of external hip openers, and today we're gonna work a little bit with the internal too. So take that leg out to the side, moving it inside the hip socket. As though you're taking a can of WD-40 and you're lubricating, or maybe some good olive oil from Italy is better. And then we'll switch the direction. So this time taking the leg straight up, out to the side, and feel it move inside that hip socket, draw it in towards the shoulder, and then bring it back around. And again, reach back behind you. Open it up. Good. And last time here, reaching up, take it out to the side, and then back to neutral. Great. And let's come right back to downward dog. So you can take a little step forward with their hands, so they're right out in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes under, and slide and glide your hips back. Yeah. So we wanna we want to invite the element of water as we're working in the hips, and it's appropriate for this hot weather we're having here in Boulder. I think we're all in Boulder. And you're just going to come up onto the toes, keep that nice crease in your hip joints, the top of the hip joints. And then walk your dog nice and slow. So again, we usually move a little more fast. I want you to slow it down maybe 3 or 4 notches today. Work with the breath, inhaling and exhale. Just think of liquid flow as you're moving. Right? And that's the key with emotions, right? The issue comes when we let emotions get stuck and frozen in the body. So we want fluid movement. And you might find your own spontaneous movement here up into the sitting bones. I like to just imagine that my sitting bone, pubic bone, tailbone, I have paint brushes on them. I'm just painting all kinds of beautiful swirls and shapes and colors. Great, just take another breath or two here in that sort of more spontaneous fluid movement. Relax your jaw, open your mouth if needed. Eyes, smile. And take a big breath in and exhale with a sigh. Breathe out. And then we're gonna walk the feet all the way up to the top of our mats. Separate your feet about hip distance apart. And go ahead and take your hands and spread open each toe, especially that little toe. Spread, spread, spread. And you'll take your hands right onto your feet and just give a little grounding here. Take a moment. And you don't need to push hard. You just invite the energy to ground down and in. And then let your jaw relax, your head and neck, shoulders. And then let's slide the hands up onto the outer shins and just give a little squeeze in. And as you squeeze in the outer shins, move the inner thighs apart. You'll feel a nice widening across the pelvis, across the lower back. Great. And then we're going to bend the knees here and roll. We'll just roll up. Let your head and neck go last. You're going to root down through the legs to come all the way up to standing, letting the head stack on top of the spine. And just take a moment here as you stand vertically. Yeah, you can even keep your eyes closed. And I want you to notice, you could even scoot your feet in a little bit, but I want you to notice your hips, notice your pelvis, notice the position of your pelvis here in gravity. So oftentimes that pelvic bowl is a little tipped forward or a little tipped back, and there's maybe more weight on one leg than the other. So we're kind of asymmetrical beings, right? So we just want to notice and then see if we can make just subtle adjustments here. You can even put your hand on your belly and your lower back. Yeah. And just see if you can make those subtle adjustments to find more balance, more fluid flow in the pelvis, right? And then we'll take the hands together at the heart. Close the eyes if they're not already. Take a big breath in here. And then as you exhale, let your eyes open and soften the gaze. Reach the arms back behind you. Inhale, lift the chest. So again, we're going to move like liquid water today. Open the chest. Exhale, fold forward. And you can bend the knees a little bit if needed. So as we're working the hips, we're also working hamstrings today, hip flexors, psoas, all those juicy places in the body. Good, we're gonna bend the right knee here and inhale, open the left shoulder up and get that nice length in your left waistline. Nice, everyone. And exhale back to center, then bend the left knee and open the right shoulder, right side waistline. Look up a little bit and exhale. Beautiful. Take another breath here in the center. Or two. Take off my necklace. Great. And then Root down at the bottom of the exhale and lead with your chest, your heart. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, we'll bring the hands to the heart again in Anjali Mudra. And you can walk the feet closer together or all the way together so big toes touch. So we'll come to Samastitihi. We're going to do some more lunar style namaskars to sort of go with our moon theme here. We're riding the beautiful wave of the Capricorn moon. Yeah, Capricorn is that sign of earth, right? So it can bring up a lot of our earthly stuff, but it can also be a really powerful time of manifestation, manifesting into the physical world, into the physical body. So take a moment before you move through these lunar namaskars and ground yourself. Good, and then let the eyes open. Exhale the arms down by your sides. Relax the shoulders. Spin the arms externally and inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Keep the tailbone rooted as you ride. Turn the palms out and exhale, ride the wave like you're actually swimming through a big wave in the ocean into forward fold. And inhale, halfway lift, straighten up the spine. Exhale, we'll step the left leg back into a lunge, bringing that back knee to the floor. And then inhale with a wave-like movement. We'll bring the arms up overhead. Good, exhale, bow forward. Place the hands to the floor and we'll step back onto the knees. Inhale here and we'll go right into Ashtanga Pranam. So we're just gonna do modified lunar namaskar here. Leading with the chest, come all the way into Bhujangasana Cobra. Good, shoulders back, neck and head are free. Exhale, lower and just tap the forehead down for a moment. Loop the shoulders back again. Spread all 10 toes and root, burrow those hips as you rise up, fully Bhujangasana. Little smile on the face, good, exhale, lower down. And we'll press back through the knees. If you want to stay more lunar today, you're welcome to come into just a modified downward dog with the knees down. Otherwise, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. And we'll take 5 breaths, 5 Ujjayi breaths. So tip of the tongue softly resting on the roof of the mouth. And find that soft smile first. So there's a sense of more peace and softening as you begin, open and soften. Listen to your breath. So how can you use as little effort as possible here, but having enough effort to keep the integrity of the pose? That's kind of how we want to walk through our lives, ultimately. Less effort, more integrity, more clarity. Deep breath in. Exhale, follow it all the way out. Look between the hands, left foot forward, back knee comes to the floor. Inhale like a wave and just sweep the arms up. Go slow. And on the exhale, like that wave is going back out into the ocean. We'll step all the way forward, inhaling to a halfway lift. Loop the shoulders back, exhale, fold, bow forward. Plug the feet in, lead with your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky, touching the palms. Exhale, so take the hands right down the center line, brushing along the third eye, the throat, the heart, and then rooting our namaste all the way down. Inhale, we'll just keep going in this flow. Arms radiate upward. Exhale, take a swim, a big swan dive up and over. Deep bow. Good, inhaling to a halfway lift, straight spine. Exhale, let's step both legs back. Plank pose here. Inhale and exhale, knees to the floor, chest to the floor, Ashtanga Pranam. Inhaling, glide your way through. Bhujangasana, shoulders back and down. Exhale, lower. And press back through the knees, either modified dog or full dog. And breathe. So open up the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet. And just feel the subtleties of when the fingers spread and when the toes spread, what happens there in the fascia. So we can actually really tune into the fascia, which is all interconnected in the body. So you move one part of the fascia, you're affecting the other part of the fascia. You feel this sort of beautiful interconnectedness in the body. Take another couple of breaths, inhaling. And on the exhale, just following it to the very tail end until you feel Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, slightly tone and pause. And then we ride that wave into the next inhale. Coming to that crest of the inhale, pausing, letting it fall back into the exhale. And bottom of the breath, look between the hands. We'll walk or hop forward. Inhaling to a halfway lift. Good, and exhale, fold forward. Plug in those feet, inhale. Reach the arms wide and up, look to your thumbs. Exhale, the hands come right down by your sides. One more. We're gonna come back to that lunar namaskar, inhale. Good, so like the moonlight, right? We're bringing moonlight energy into our bodies, a little more soft, a little more luminous. Inhaling halfway up. And exhale, step your left leg back. And this time, keep that back knee lifted and we'll just plant the hands on the thigh bone here. Roll your back thigh inward. So get that internal rotation, right? In the back thigh. Start to get the internal hip rotation. And then from here, inhale, sweep the arms up. Maybe a little bend in your back knee to get the tailbone rooted a little more. And then reach up with the arms. This is a little more solar. You can keep the back knee down. Good, exhale, bow forward. We'll place the left hand down and reach the right arm up to the sky in a twist. If you can keep those hips level. So the left hip has a tendency to wanna drop and sink. See if you can keep the hips even as you twist. Good, and breathe. Nice long spine on the inhale. An open heart on the exhale. Remember, the more subtly you move, the more you're actually affecting the nervous system, central nervous system. One more breath here, inhale. Exhale, release the hands. And we'll slide our way back downward facing dog. And just take a couple of breaths here, your choice. You can move through a vinyasa or you can stay in the downward dog. So you can either come through to cobra, upward dog, downward dog. Great, and breathe. So again, just coming back to your awareness in the center of the palm, the center of the feet. Noticing where the body tends to hold, and especially today in the hips, right? And relax the jaw, maybe bend the knees a little. Feel the pelvic floor and that web of fascia just softening, opening. Be curious about what's stuck. Don't worry about why or the story, but just get curious about how it can be more free. And we'll exhale all the breath out. Left foot forward. Good, again, come up onto hands on the left thigh. Yeah, and just pause, you guys. Take a pause, look inside. Roll the back thigh in so you get that internal rotation inside of the hip joint, right? And you can feel when you do that, it actually softens the pelvis. Good, and then inhale, take the arms wide enough, crescent lunge. So feel more about your center of gravity in your hips than trying to get more opening in the chest, right? I want you to feel more of your hip area here. And a deep breath in as you curl back. And then on the exhale, right hand down. And then keep those hips level. Like somebody's giving your outer hips a little squeeze in as you open. Yeah. And then just breathing. So keep staying curious in the body. How can you free up the tailbone? Right. And then on the exhale, hands down, slide back, downward dog. Nice deep ujjayi breaths. Relax the jaw, the eyes. Find a soft smile within. Great. And at the bottom of the next exhale, walk your feet together so your big toes are touching. And then on the inhale, reach your right leg to the sky and go slow. Slow, 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 reach. Once you get that leg straight, bend the knee and play with opening a little bit. Doesn't need to be a big opening. And then you're gonna roll the leg in. So you're gonna open the other way, turning the foot out to the side and roll it externally and then internally. One more time externally. Look up between your hands, step your right foot forward. And we'll turn the back heel to the floor and just walk both hands on the inside of your foot. Good. So pause for a moment. Just take a pause here. And feel into your tailbone, like your tailbone is a little paintbrush and you're just brushing the paint back and forth. And I want you to notice what happens in your hips and your pelvis when you feel that movement. Yeah. Maybe the jaw releases more. Maybe there's space somewhere else in the body. Okay, and then we'll slowly move the hands to the inside of the foot. Okay, and then plant your right hand down and take your left hand either onto the hip or up towards the ceiling. Okay, so if you feel your nervous system getting activated, right, then just back off a little bit. Go to your edge. Breathe. Yeah, so we want to hug the outer right hip under a little bit. It's kind of like you're pulling the heel towards the center line. It's going to activate there and hold it. And then start to open a little bit more. Open your chest a little bit more. Great. One more breath here, you guys. And then on the exhale, hands come down. We're just going to walk the hands to the left and come to center here. So feet are parallel. Walk your hands in and come into Prasarita Padottanasana. You can, I always find this feels very soothing to my nervous system, this pose. So hopefully it's that to you. And you can always bend your knees a little bit. Let the head hang and dangle like a pear on a tree. Just let it dangle. Maybe a little shake of your head side to side, front to back. Good, and then we're gonna inhale, walk the hands back out, and we'll turn and walk to the left, turning the left foot straight out. And walk your hands so they're just in front of your feet, left foot. And again, take a couple of breaths here, and like your tailbone is a little brush. You're gonna brush back and forth. Notice what happens when you go back. Maybe there's more space in the pelvic floor. What happens when you come forward? Is there more stability? And what happens when you find little micro circles, spirals? And then slowly walk that left hand a little closer into the foot. And the right hand either comes onto the hip or up to the sky. Yeah. So meet your body where it is today. If it feels tight, maybe you've been on vacation, sitting in a car. If it feels tight, don't give it a hard time. Just be with it where it is, your body. Meet it where it is today. Great. And then exhale, we'll bring the hands back down, walk back into center here, and then turn your toes about 45 degrees out. And we're gonna walk nice and slowly, walk the hands over to the right, coming into a side lunge. Yeah. Well, I'm feeling a lot in my body today. I don't know about you guys, but just meeting it doesn't feel quite as open today, and that's okay. And then you go over nice and slow to the other side, digging that right heel in. Just probably feel a nice good stretch on the inner thighs here. Ah, beautiful. And then exhale. We're going to come back to feet parallel, walk back to the front of your mat and glide and slide your way back to downward dog. Great. And then we'll walk the feet together and stretch nice and slow. Stretch your left leg up to the sky. And recommit through your hands. So every day we really have to get up, right? And we have to recommit to ourselves and our practice and our growth, our evolution. So same in the body, every pose, just recommit yourself. Yeah, hug in. And then play with opening the hip, bend the knee. You can roll the thigh in, get that internal, letting your foot go out to the side. And then out. The knee goes out and the knee goes in a couple of times. Yep. Good, one more time, inhale. And this time, exhale, we're gonna slide the leg into a half pigeon. Okay. How's everybody doing out there? Yay, okay. All right, so once you get here, as much as you guys can, try to keep your knee in line with your hip, okay? And then I like to actually roll to the outside a little bit, bring my foot forward just to the edge. So if your hip is really open here, you might be able to bring your shin parallel to the top of your mat. Mine is not on this side. So I just go to where I can. Now, I know I mentioned blocks, so if you want to use a block, have your block handy. It can be a nice little support. Okay, and then the back leg is important too. So you can roll that back thigh bone in, and that helps to open up the front of the pelvis. And then we'll inhale from here. Just take a couple of breaths. I love this first moment of pigeon because you can actually kind of grow up and out of it a little, right? Like, oh, I'm not so stuck in the mud. And then you can exhale, go up and over. And you'll find that first sweet edge. This is where the block is nice if you want to rest your head. Yeah, and you know, if you're tense and you can't relax, you're probably a little too deep in. So maybe back off a little bit. Find that place in the edge where you feel the deep work, but you're not clenching against it. You're able to feel the flow, the movement. And then just stay. And the longer you stay, the more you're actually really working with that nervous system. And releasing the muscular tension that's kind of gotten habitually tense through fight or flight. You can just keep moving micro movements in the hips and notice if any emotions arise, don't make a story, just let them move. Really good. Okay, and then we'll inhale. We're gonna walk up and we're gonna just roll over onto our left hip. And I'm gonna turn a little bit so you can see. So coming into the mermaid here. So you're gonna be sitting on your left hip, okay? And we'll actually bring our foot a little more forward. in the mermaid. Can you guys see? Okay, looks like this. The right leg is back. And you want to have sort of a 90-degree angle here with your leg. It's not, the back leg's not as important. So your back knee's kind of turned out. So it's more the front leg you're thinking. Don't worry about the mat. I'm just turning towards them so that they can see. So then bend this top leg. Yeah. So the top leg is in pigeon, but a little more open pigeon. Yeah. And then you're going to walk the hands forward. Just keep smiling at your beautiful hip. It's nice to keep a little flexion in your left foot. Yeah. And just go in deep into the we call them the deep six rotators. You guys probably all know the piriformis. That's the big one. That's the big hip rotator. And there's a lot of little ones. So we're getting into those deep rotators. Yeah. Great. And then stay another breath or two. So always stay just a little past that moment that you want to come out, right? Because that's often where the deeper work in the nervous system begins. It's like that place we just want to run and we stay. That's where the change happens often. So find another breath, exhaling through the jaw, relax, eyes soften. Great. And then we'll inhale, walk it back up. And let's just take the foot in a little bit closer. We'll come into a side stretch. I love this full mermaid pose here. So the right hand is back, left arm comes overhead. And you get this nice stretch in your side body. And you can just imagine like your left arm like a peacock feather. It's nice and light, in other words. Yeah. Beautiful. And then inhaling, come on up. Great. How are we doing? Good. Let's make our way back to downward dog. This is the fun part, just to notice the difference in your one side to the other. Yeah, just take a moment to actually notice what feels different. Does it feel lighter? Does it feel like more fluid? Is there a color that comes? Is the jaw more relaxed? See what it is for you. Are you pissed off? Sometimes that can come out of the hip. Yeah. And then we'll take it to the other side in pigeon. Right knee comes between the hands. And just find that sweet spot, right? Bring your foot forward if needed, or if you want to get a deeper stretch, roll the back thigh bone in. And then take that sort of freedom stretch for a moment, just lifting the heart, floating, opening. Ah, yeah, beautiful, Steph, nice. Yeah. And then exhale, we'll walk it out here. And just go to that first edge. Yeah. Ida Rolf says our issues are in our tissues. So the body is a great place to go when you're feeling stuck emotionally. Go to the body. I still forget 30 years later of doing yoga. I still forget, like when I'm in places of emotional stuckness, I forget to go and just move my body. So you can drop deeper and deeper here. We'll stay another 4 or 5 breaths. No rush. In and in. Just feel the gentle healing energy of gravity. It can be so healing to the body, gravity. That fight or flight wants to jump us out of the body. So we come back to the body, we're finding that deeper regulation in the nervous system. Good. 2 more breaths. What's down there in the pelvis? Be curious. Shine that Capricorn full moon light into some of those more hidden places. Bring it to the surface. Great. Let it move. And then you're going to just very, very slowly make your way back up. And then we'll lean all the way to the right. Okay. And then you can just fold the back leg in and come on up. You don't even really have to move that front leg too much. You're going to sit forward here. And then you want to face the right shin. So you're going to go forward. Just gets a little bit of a different, make sure the knee is happy here. So just adjust. You know, it's a little hard to see when we're not in person, but keeping that front knee parallel to the shoulders, front shin, parallel to the shoulders as you go forward. And just go to the edge. Like you're doing a little self body work. You're just directing your attention into those places, and you can keep a little bit of flex in the lower back, a little bit of curve, a little tone in the belly as you go forward. Good. Great. And last couple of breaths. Anything that wants to release out of those hips, this is a good time. And then we inhale very slowly, come on up, and we'll bring our foot in a little closer for this side body stretch. So your left hand's going to come outside the foot, reach the right arm overhead, mermaid, and just feel like a mermaid. Yeah, like you're in the water, just your tail can move. Capricorn actually has half mermaid, half, it's not mermaid, it's fish. I like to say mermaid, half fish, half mountain goat. So there's the water and the earth element here. Good. Ooh, and inhale, flow yourself back up and all the way over into downward dog. And again, feel on the right side, notice, feel. Right side is more of the masculine, right? And more of the kind of sun, the moving forward in the world. Left side is the feminine, the receptivity, that maybe more of the past. I think of the gifts of the past, the ancestors, what we've learned, grown from, how we've evolved. Good, inhale, slide your chest through. Plank pose, lower down, either knees bent or straight legs onto your bellies. Let's take the arms down by our sides for Shalabhasana. You can just rest your forehead down for a moment and spread all 10 toes. And then I want you to play with rolling your thighs in for a moment and see what happens in your pelvis, right? It should feel wider. The tailbone lifts a little, the sacrum widens, and then roll the legs the other way and you'll feel more of a tightening, right? So we're always looking for that middle place in yoga. So you want to roll the thighs in, but then scoop the tail towards the earth. Then inhale, lift the head, chest, legs and feet, and go slow. Go a little, back off a little bit so that you can find the inner form, and then go a little higher. Yes. You can lift the legs and feet too. Shalabhasana A. Breathe. Back the neck is long. And then we'll go right into B, which is basically just taking the hands by the navel, elbows in, and come up a little higher. Shalabhasana B. Excellent. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale, press yourself right back into child's pose, balasana. And breathe. Just rest back. Go back into the deep rest. Yeah. Great. And then let's come on up to all fours, and we're going to turn on our mats sideways and walk our knees wide into the amazing frog pose. Everybody's favorite. So take a peek, make sure your shins are parallel to each other, feet are turned out. And then you're going to come down onto your elbows. And just wait. This is where I like to go really slow and maybe move my hips back a little bit. Play with the tailbone as if it were a paintbrush moving up and down, but really subtle movements. And when you get to some of those deeper tension points, you're going to stop for a moment and breathe. Relax your jaw, go inside and let gravity do some of the deeper work. Great. You might notice you can go a little deeper as you stay. Maybe the hips go back a little more towards the heels. Take 2 to 3 more breaths. Just feel, you might even squeeze the knees in a little bit. Just feel that inner line of the legs. Squeeze, 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 just a little bit. And then release. And maybe you're a little further in. And last breath. Good. And then we'll walk ourselves back up. And then let's come back onto all fours here. And we'll separate the knees just a few inches, and we're going to come into Virasana. Like we're nice and open now. So you're just going to pull your calves down, maybe slightly out, but not too much out, and then sit back. And you can sit on a blanket, a block, whatever you need to get your butt down. Okay, and then once we're here, you can spread your toes and just make sure those outer ankles are hugging in. You can push into those outer ankles with your thumbs. Little toes are spreading. I'm going to open up the feet here. The feet are pretty key. Okay, and then even a little pull back of the flesh from the sitting bones. Bring the sacrum in and up. And just rest your hands on your thighs and find your head on top of your spine. This is such a nice pose. And it actually gets that deep internal rotation of the hip joint. Yeah. Yeah. You can even walk your, if you have the flexibility, you guys can walk your hands out a little in front, which is a different feeling, maybe not. And then eventually we're going to go back into Supta Baddha Konasana. So slow, right? Just go slow. And the key here is just to keep the tailbone curling under as you go back. So I like to start on my hands and then maybe go to the elbows. Obviously, you guys know this. If you feel discomfort in your back, you just back off. Wait for the body to catch up. Blocks are always nice here too. You could put a block under your, here, so you don't have to get out. Yeah, so Ah. So you listen deeply. By going slow, you can listen more deeply to your body. Where are my edges? Where are my boundaries? Right? Where are my boundaries too strong? Where can I actually let go a little bit more? Find your breath inside the pose. And we'll stay another 3 or 4 breaths here. Yeah. Great. And last few breaths, just imagine you have some sandbags on your thighs. The thighs get nice and heavy and grounded. Right. And then eventually, just in the next couple of breaths, make your way back up. Good. All right. Very good, everyone. Are we good? Are your hips feeling good? Hips feeling groovy? The hips don't lie, do they? Let's take our feet together in Baddha Konasana. Okay, so this pose, you know, as I've aged, has gotten really harder and harder for me, but I'm not giving up. I'm just giving myself a little more support. So if you need to sit on a blanket, do so. And it's a little easier to bring your feet out in front if your hips are tight like mine rather than close in. So you just decide what works for you best. Then I would say there. Yeah, because you want to challenge yourself, right? Okay, so we'll just start with the feet together and just sitting up tall and drawing that sacrum in and up and opening the hips really like a lotus flower. You want to feel this sense of external rotation opening up the pelvis, right? And then when you're ready, you can come forward. And as you come forward, you do want to let the feet open. So you can spread open your feet, come forward. And again, go to that first edge. And it's nice to take the forearms onto the inner thighs and help open the knees wide. And the chest can stay reaching forward to begin with. Right. So for the next 5 breaths, we're going to do a little more active Baddha Konasana. Inner thighs reaching out towards the knees, chest goes forward. You can even walk your hands out, which is really nice. Every in breath gives us a little bit more extension, opening, length. And then through the exhale, we can find more softness and release. A great metaphor, right? Like we get up in the morning and we try again and we work with our lives. We work on showing up again. And then at nighttime, we go to sleep and we rest. And this is what we need to do for our nervous system, right? If we keep going, pushing, eventually we're going to crash. So that balance of yin yang. And then eventually you can just let go into this pose, make it a little more of a yin pose. So the head goes down and in, you're just fully letting go. So the question that I've been really pondering is not how do I stay in a place of calm, but how do I regulate, right? How do I keep regulating? How do I keep regulating my nervous system? It's going to get activated. There's too many things going on in the world and in our lives for us to not get activated. So yeah, and we all know that this practice of yoga is such a great tool for that. I'm rambling this morning. And then inhale, come on up. And exhale, we'll just stretch those legs out at 45 degrees. Yeah. Give your inner thighs a little squeeze. Ground the thigh bones here. Yeah. You can even pull the flesh out of the sitting bones a little bit. And then if this pose is challenging, just stay here with the hands back behind, or you can walk the hands out and come forward. Yeah. So if I had you in person, I'd put a couple sandbags right there on your thighs. I'll give since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to give Val just some grounding here. So you can just imagine I'm coming and gently grounding your thigh bones here. Yeah. Okay. And then inhale, we'll come on up. And do you guys all have, let's bring our legs back together. Do you guys all have a strap of some sort? If you do, grab it. And if you don't, it's okay. We'll modify. We're gonna lie on our backs. How are we doing? Are we feeling good? Okay, gotta keep checking in. And don't be surprised if later today you have some stuff coming up. Just let it come up. Let it go. I always do when I have hips. So we're gonna lie on our backs, keep your left knee bent for a moment and take the strap around the ball of the right foot, okay? Give yourself plenty of slack here to start with. Enough slack at least so that you can keep those hips level so you're not hiking your right hip up, right? Keep the hips level. Then if that feels good, if it feels good to straighten your left leg, go for it, okay? Grounding that left thigh bone. And then the idea here that we're going to work with is to use the strap to pull the leg down and ground into the hip socket. Okay, so we're not going to focus on the hamstrings yet. First, we go with the grounding of the hip into the socket, that ball and socket. When you get that to work, you'll feel like grounding in the sacrum, grounding in the back. Yeah. So your hands are pretty active here too, right? Using the strap. If you don't have a strap, you're just going to place the hands around the back of the hamstrings because it's a little less intense than grabbing the foot. Okay, so a couple more breaths. Again, when we're working with the nervous system, we want to take our time, go slow, wait for the opening, wait for the release. So then you might be able to pull that leg in a little bit more. Maybe it's just 1/4 of an inch. Now you might start feeling the hamstring. And you flex that foot so the heel is reaching, opening, calcaneus. Oh yeah, I am feeling it. I bet you guys are too. Now, we're gonna take the strap with one hand, or you'll just use your one hand on the outer leg. The other hand can ground the left thigh bone. As you bring the leg slowly out to the side, only go as far as you can go with keeping this left thigh bone grounded. Yeah. Wow. You might need to take your hand out to the side to counterbalance. Go. Keep going. Go to your edge, breathe and wait. And reach. And if you feel a little shaking, that's okay. That's actually the nervous system kind of resetting the muscular tension in the body. I'm really working on getting words around all of this because I know it kinesthetically in my body what's happening, but I'm working on getting the right words. So hopefully it makes sense to you guys. Inhale, coming back up slowly. You're just going to take the leg a little bit over to the left And with your right thumb, just pull down on that right hip crease. Pull down. Yeah. A little more internal rotation here. Good. Inhale, bring it back to center. And release. And just release both legs. Just feel both legs. You're probably going to feel a lot of difference, like I do, from side to side. Maybe more lightness, more prana, blood flow. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll take it to the other side. So you can strap your left ball of your foot. And the right leg is either bent or straight. Just see what works best for you. Again, give yourself plenty of slack to begin with. And we can hold the strap with both hands or hands to the back of the hamstring. Yeah. And work on grounding the femur bone right down into the hip socket. That head of the femur bone goes right into the socket. And when you feel that, you should feel a sense of grounding through the sacrum. Maybe a little freedom in the tailbone. Stay with it. Keep that fluid breath. Maybe bring that leg in a little closer if it feels appropriate. Maybe a little closer. Ooh. Yeah. Articulate your foot a little bit. Feel the connection of your feet, your heel, your calcaneus up into the sitting bone. Good. And then bring it back out and take the foot, the strap or the hand on the outer foot, and start to take your leg out to the side. Try not to lose the ground of your right leg. And then look over to the right. So we work on balancing, right? The effort with the letting go. Inhaling, coming back up, and then switch the hands. Take the leg over about 6 inches to the right. I'm going to clip down that left hip with your thumb. Clip it down. Yeah. Beautiful, everyone. And then bring it back to center. And you're going to release that leg. Very good. Let's take our knees into our chest, give a little squeeze. Rolling side to side. Good. And then we'll take the feet back down to the floor and we'll windshield wiper the legs. So the toes are going to turn out. And you're going to bring the knees to the right. And again, go slow. We can tend to go through this a little quickly. Go slow. As you get to the bottom, reach long through the left femur bone. And then just very slowly come back up and go to the other side. And when you get to the end here, find that little extra extension through the bone of your right leg. And then coming back. Yeah. And maybe even add in the arms here. When the left knee goes down, you get a nice stretch into the left arm, feeling into the psoas, other side. Great. Okay. And then come back to center, and we're going to do There's a particular name for it that I cannot remember for the life of me, but it's a very particular pose that helps release tension in the pelvis and help to reset the nervous system. Okay, so we're gonna start in Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide, okay? And I'm gonna talk you through this, but we're gonna go as slow as possible. So I'm actually gonna use a timer. And I'm gonna time us for about 3 minutes. And we might go longer. We'll see. Okay, so here we go. You're gonna start to lift your knees ever so slowly. And it's almost like you're gonna lift and then pause. Lift and pause. And go, and it's very natural for the legs to start shaking at one point. And you might start to feel a lot. It's okay to feel, just stick with it, move through it, and maybe lift a little bit higher. So I'll tell you when we're halfway through, just so you know that you should be bringing your legs about halfway up. And see if you can remain soft in your face, your jaw. You might notice more energy moving in one side than the other. Lots of things to notice. Definitely the shaking is a normal thing. And when you feel more shaking, just slow it down, breathe. You can even put a hand on the belly, hand on the heart. We want to tell ourselves when we're doing deeper nervous system work like this that it's okay, everything's okay. The body is safe, we're safe. Keep going. So we're about halfway through. Let your legs shake. If they want to shake, let them shake. And this is the work. I didn't plan this pose, it just sort of came through. Relax the jaw. Keep breathing into the belly if you need to, hands on the belly. Try to keep softening the belly. Yep. Keep going. Slow, slow lift in your legs. You got your, tell yourself this is okay. You've got this. Let the legs shake. Let any movement happen that wants to happen. If you feel you're holding other parts of your body, let's see if you can soften. So much gets stuck here in our hips, our pelvis. Keep going. We're about 3/4 of the way. Now you're going to move a little more fluidly as the legs slowly begin to come together. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. You might notice a little more shaking towards the end. Stay with it. Stay with it as the legs slowly come together. Yeah, nice work, everyone. And then once the legs come in, you're gonna again squeeze the legs into the chest. Give a little squeeze. And give yourself a full squeeze. So pull the forehead up into the knees, curl into a little fetal position. Mm. Let your body know it's safe to feel. And then we're just going to very slowly bring the legs back down, stretch the legs out for a moment. Let everything go. And just feel the weight of your legs resting. Mm. And just if it feels like you need to, you can shake your legs a little bit, stretch your arms overhead, give yourself a full body stretch and reach. We'll bend the knees. And then the last thing I want to do here is just shake the hips. So with the knees bent, we're just going to shake, shake, shake. Anything else that needs to move? You guys can even take it into a little spontaneous movement here. So maybe you want to finish with a bridge, or maybe you want to finish with just shaking. I want you to see what your body needs in this moment. And, or maybe the knees go in, you get a little internal rotation, hands on the belly. So just feel. If you're feeling any vulnerability, just put your hand somewhere on your body and squeeze. Give yourself little hugs, little reassuring. Yeah. You can put your hands on your face. That's an incredibly comforting experience for the nervous system, to hold your face or your head or your heart, shoulders. And then once you feel ready, you can make your way into the final resting pose. And for some of you today, that might feel more like a fetal position. I don't know why my body's kind of calling for a sideline shavasana, but for you, it might be lying on your back or some support under your knees. So just see what you need. And we're going to take these final moments here, another minute or two, 2 minutes, 3 minutes in. I know I'm running a little bit late, but so if any of you need to leave, I understand. So the more we do this work for ourselves, the more we help. I know so many of you on this call today are helping others, and it's so important for you to be doing this work for you. So just feel that gratitude to be able to do this work for yourself, so that ultimately you can hold the space for others. Rest back, just let this be integrated for your body, your mind, your heart, spirit. So feel free to stay as long as you need today in Shavasana. I'm just for time purposes going to bring us out. So you can wiggle your fingers and toes and take some deep breaths. Eventually stretching the wrists, ankles, arms, and legs. And bend your knees, roll to your side. And just keep the hips as relaxed as possible as you come up to sitting. And then I just want to invite you to take your hands wherever it feels good on your face, on your head and heart. Whatever you feel will ground you through the day. And then just take a little bow to yourself, we'll take a bow to each other, and to all sentient beings. Namaste. Thank you all so much. I hope you feel as good as I feel right now.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so good to see you all.
You too.
See you next week. I'll be here from now on for a while.
Thanks,
All right.
Ellie.
Love you all. Mwah.
Too.
Have a wonderful day.
Yum.
Yum. Kath, let's talk today, okay? Call each other? Okay. Bye. Namaste.